This objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
No. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis on the stand last week, defiant against the accusations leveled against her from attorneys for Donald Trump and his co-defendants in the election interference case, that she benefited from a personal relationship with her lead prosecutor on the case, Nathan Wade. Now, we are waiting to see what Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee does next. According to reporting from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, closing arguments are expected to be scheduled late this week or next week. Let's bring in MSNBC host and legal analyst Katie Phang, who has been covering this story for us. Basil and Lisa are also back with us. I understand, Katie, that there was a meeting with Judge McAfee today. What can you tell us about that?
So the meeting that was supposed to take place today was with Terrence Bradley, the former divorce lawyer for Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, Terrence Bradley's attorneys, and Judge McAfee. That's it. No state present, no defense counsel for any of the defendants present. The reason why this meeting took place is late on Friday, towards the close of the evidence, Terrence Bradley on cross-examination admitted to the state of Georgia that he had left the law partnership that he had shared with Nathan Wade because of allegations that he had sexually assaulted a law firm employee. Now, I want to make sure that that was clear, that it was Terrence Bradley who was accused of sexually assaulting a law firm employee, not Nathan Wade. Now, the reason why it became so relevant and the need for this meeting today is because on direct examination, when he was being asked questions by the defense attorneys in this case, he invoked the attorney-client privilege and did not answer why he had left the partnership with Nathan Wade. So Judge McAfee said, you know, it seems, Mr. Bradley, you may be a little bit confused about the scope of the attorney-client privilege. I think that you think it's a little overbroad. So McAfee said to Bradley, I'm going to take you behind closed doors and we're going to explore what your understanding is of the attorney-client privilege to make sure that you have answered the questions about which you are allowed to. The attorney-client privilege, it is held by the client. It is held by Nathan Wade. He has testified that he has not waived that privilege. And so any of the confidential communications that he has had with his lawyer, Terrence Bradley, cannot be divulged for any reason, except for a few exceptions, none of which apply here. And so McAfee is meeting or has met today with Terrence Bradley to make sure that he doesn't have to reopen the evidence and basically have Bradley answer a whole slew of additional questions.
Okay, so Katie, in light of that, talk to us about what's next. What do summary arguments look like for both sides?
So McAfee also indicated that this Friday or perhaps next week, closing arguments, as we'll call it, oral arguments on both sides will take place. Interestingly, though, Alicia, McAfee said it would only be 10 to 15 minutes on each side. So, I mean, reading tea leaves here, he's heard what he's needed to hear for purposes of this evidentiary hearing to pretty much make up his mind. Now, he's a thoughtful judge thus far, and I do not expect him to rule from the bench. It is way too serious an issue. I expect him to issue a written order in detail. And if I am to predict, I predict he's going to deny the motion to dismiss and to disqualify.
And then give me a sense, Lisa, what that does for timeline here.
I think if he denies the motion, we've lost a bunch of time, kind of caught up in this episode, as it were. And obviously, a number of people have been horrifically embarrassed by it, but the case goes back on track, and we can start to then deal with some of the other pretrial motions that other parties have brought. There are some discovery disputes, and theoretically start to have a conversation about when this case might be ready for trial. At an earlier hearing, Fani Willis said that she considers June to be the deadline for anybody who wants to have substantive plea negotiations with her office and reach a plea deal. Whether or not that's still her extant deadline, I don't know. But theoretically, if this case goes forward under her leadership, one of the conversations her office is very much going to want to have with Judge McAfee is, can we start talking about the schedule for the trial of the remaining defendants?
Here's the thing, Basil. We all know that even if the legal question here is open shut, the Republicans will allow the political question about their relationship to fester.
Horrifically embarrassed is a great term, because to me, even if they do go forward with Fani Willis and sort of leading the charge, I can imagine that Donald Trump is going to use everything that came out as political fodder. He has a history of going after African American women in particular that did not turn out so well for him in the case of Tish James, and it may not in this case either. But this is a tactic that he always uses, and I imagine that the whole purpose of this was to be able to bring out something that he could use on the campaign trail. And so, and going back to our earlier conversation, this is why, in part, I really do feel for the people that decide to take him on, because they are really opening their lives and their families' lives to a tremendous amount of hate and retribution and retaliation, sometimes and potentially tragically violent, and I hope it never comes to that. But these are folks that, are presumably in danger. And I imagine that, as I said, he is going to use every single thing that came out of these hearings against her.
And you heard Fani Willis talking about those attacks, talking about the loneliness. Really quickly before we go, Katie Phang, I'm not sure if you saw this reporting from CNN. They spoke to the owner of a winery that Willis and Wade visited. Essentially, that person says, yes, she paid with a great sum of cash. Is that even necessary at this point, corroborating the story in that way?
Well, the judge is not considering it because it's not evidence, right? But Alicia, of course it's necessary, because this unnecessary circus sideshow of salacious allegations created an issue where now we have a vineyard owner who's now corroborating what Fani Willis and Nathan Wade said. To the extent, to Basil's point, right, that there is always a court of public opinion outside of the actual courtroom proper, then yes, it is relevant and it is helpful, because it helps bolster the credibility of Fani Willis and Nathan Wade that she would pay on these personal travel trips. She'd pay with cash. But it really wasn't necessary, because we heard from her dad on Friday, Alicia, and her dad said very clearly that he raised his daughter to be a proud woman, financially independent, but to make sure she had enough cash to take care of herself. And then Fani Willis, of course, said, I don't need a man, and I certainly do not need Nathan Wade to pay my way.